Welcome to the King and Chapman Show. It is Saturday, June 1. I am Brent Chapman, and still in Ann Arbor, Michigan, is the original Favs. Jimmy
What's up, B? How you doing today, my brother? I appreciate that intro as always. My personal theme music without the music.
I that definitely wasn't a best, but it was there. It was a kind of a new take on the King.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I tell you,
really
I like
scratchy, really scratchy voice. You know, Jimmy, it's Saturday, June 1st, which is a first for us. See, we had Memorial Day this past week, and so we missed our Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday shows. So we made it up with a Thursday, Friday, Saturday block for everyone watching, which I think is fair, and we'll be back to our normal schedule on Monday. But Jimmy, I'm going to be honest with you and the listeners. It is Saturday, and on Saturday, Brent likes to Netflix and chill. And so Brent has a very special Saturday planned after this show. He is going to watch the new Netflix movie with J-Lo. That is right, Jimmy. J-Lo is in a new movie about AI and robots, and she's wearing this nice leather fighting suit.
I see why you want to watch
it. And she's shooting, and she's jumping, and she's rolling, and she's sweating.
Right. Not all about the dialogue, huh? It's not about the script at all. I ain't mad at you. You know, thanks for turning me on, because I'm gonna look for it myself. I might have to.
I'm actually exaggerating to make fun of how ridiculous these movies are, with taking a 50-plus-year-old woman and trying to make her into this. Like, it's just hilarious.
Hey, if Arnold Schwarzenegger could be a action hero until he's 70, J-Lo could be a whatever until she's however old she is.
Now, let me ask you a question, Jimmy. Is the direct to Netflix J-Lo movie and Meg going to be on the Oscars or the Grammy list?
Oh, well, that's not
Oscars.
Probably not. I mean, we know her to do a lot of things, you know, singing, acting, you know, dancing. So, you know, she's a jackstress of all trades. But
you know, I'm hating on J-Lo, but you know, she's not as terrible of an actor. Like it's not
right. And that's what I was getting at. Yes, I agree. I think she's a better actor than singer for sure. Yeah. Although she has a lot of hits. She has some hits.
Hey, and the other thing is, I'm a big sci-fi guy. I love sci-fi movies. I'm actually going to watch this and probably enjoy this movie. I've seen it's gotten some decent reviews. I'll probably like it. I like action. I like sci-fi. It'll be great. J-Lo doesn't bother me. It'll be fun to watch. But, Jimmy, people didn't tune into the show to listen to you and I talk about Jennifer Lopez. They came to hear us talk about sports. And it's happened, Jimmy. They freed Scottie. Scottie is free. Our man, Scottie Scheffler, had his criminal charges dropped against him. During a court hearing on Wednesday, Jefferson County Attorney Mike McConnell said that prosecutors would not pursue the case and asked the charges to be dismissed with prejudice, which means they can't be filed again in the future. So they said, and I'll quote this, based on the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward. Mr. Scheffler's characterization that this was a big misunderstanding is corroborated by the evidence. So, Jimmy, that's it. Scottie's free. He said it was a misunderstanding. We got to see some video. It looked like an exuberant cop and probably a misunderstanding, which is kind of what we all thought from the beginning. But let me ask you a question. Scottie had a squeaky clean image prior to this arrest. Does this arrest damage Scottie Scheffler's image? Or is it it's not like Tiger stumbling down the driveway at 3 a.m, banging his head into the mailbox?
Those are two different things. And I think, kind of unfortunately, but fortunate for him, he gets a little street cred. Now, since being a squeaky clean golfer, who's also a great golfer who got out of jail and shot a 6 under, so people will hate him for that. There's people that'll hate him from that, but there are also people that'll love him for doing that, for going to jail, right? Getting booked, getting bailed out, and then playing in one of the largest tournaments of the year and playing well. So I think it gives him some street cred that he doesn't need.
Jimmy King anoints Scottie Scheffler with street cred. Just want to make sure
gangster of golf.
Clear. He's been marked, stamped. He has
the gangster of golf for driving around a barricade. I know we make it light of this, because there was a person who lost their life. And that's not what we're.
Yeah, but that's not what we're joking about, right? Absolutely. Obviously, that was that's why there was all these barricades. But obviously, no one's making fun of the poor man who lost his life, right? So, Jimmy, we're gonna jump around. We got some golf, we got some basketball, we're gonna do some football. I know people love NFL. We love to talk NFL. And we're gonna even wrap it up with a little Texas Rangers at the end.
All right.
We're gonna talk about Celtics right now. So we talked about yesterday that the Celtics swept the Pacers, and that was this their year, or was it a weak East? Well, the Sharps, Vegas, doesn't seem to think that it was that weak of an East, because they got them as the betting favorites in the championship game. Do you agree, Jimmy, that the Celtics should be the betting favorites?
Yes, because Vegas is very good at getting the money to come in and to bet and have people interested in the game. So yes, it's ironic how their systems work. Early on, they want to kind of draw interest, but as it gets closer to the game, the actual game, whether they play the Mavericks or they play the Timberwolves, which I hope is the Mavericks, or it seems like it will be the Mavericks, things change. And those odds that were a week ago, 5 days ago, however long, change. And now you got a whole different set of scenarios. But is Boston the betting favorite? I would say yes, because they have the track record of being here. Dallas was fortunate a couple years ago, but the Celtics have been there 6 out of the last 8 years. So they deserve, or at least they seem like they would be the betting favorite to finally win. But as we discussed last show too, I think that they're actually running up against their juggernaut. They're a juggernaut for them. I think the Mavericks is a team that, that is the worst team for the Celtics to go up against right now, for them to win that elusive championship.
I completely agree, Jimmy. But I'm gonna say this. I don't think they should be the betting favorites. I think the Mavericks are by far the favorites to win. I would say that I've learned something, that the Sharps know what they're talking about, right? There's a reason why the house always wins.
That's right.
And
that's right.
If the line goes up or the line goes down, or this guy's the favorite and this guy's not the favorite, I always like to watch. I look at the odds, because
the storylines change.
It's like you ever want to know inside, you'll never actually be inside, but if you want to know inside, watch the odds.
Absolutely.
Clubhouse.
They
That's
have
right.
it down to a science. That's their business. They do it
That's right.
better than anybody on the planet,
That's right.
and they make a
That's
lot
right.
of money.
So
So
Jimmy,
whatever they're doing is working.
keeping with basketball, we're going to talk about a guy that maybe you played with. I'd love to get your insight on this. Tryonn Lue. He is the LA Clippers coach, and he just signed a new deal that goes all the way through the 28-29 season that will make him one of the highest paid coaches in the year at $14 million a year. Now, why did he get this extension? Because the Clippers finished the 4th seed. They got beat by the Mavericks, right? They've not been great the last couple of years. So he had 1 year left on his contract. He's been 184 and 134 in 4 seasons with the Clippers. So respectable, but not great. It's actually 6th best record in the NBA over that time. So that's respectable. That's basically a top 5 team during his coaching span. And he led them to their first Western Conference Finals appearance ever a couple of years back. And he's had injuries to deal with between Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and some of these things. So Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what you know about Tryonn Lue as a player and as a coach. We'd love your personal insight. And being the highest paid coach in the league is worth asking the question, is he the best coach in the league? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Ooh, you know, so Tryonn Lue, I never had the opportunity to play against him, but I do know him. We met on a couple occasions. He's a great person as well outside of the game. But what he's done as a head coach for the Cavaliers, as a head coach for the Clippers, and dealing with major personalities. Remember, we discussed coaching in the NBA a while ago, and I mentioned that the great coaches are managers. They're not necessarily X and O's all the time, but they know how to manage personalities and guys to bring them together. You mentioned Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. People have like outward opinions about Kawhi and some about Paul, about how they play, their availability, and even with Russell Westbrook, having him go from a all-star starter to coming off the bench and really having an impact in the success of the team. So yes, he deserves that $14 million a year, coaching LeBron in Cleveland, and then coming here and having 3 all-stars and bringing them together and fighting, and having success and fighting through all the injuries and still having basically a top 5 record in the league. So yes, he is one of the best, and if not the best, he's close to it. So I would give him his love, give him his props, because I actually think that he's one of the greatest or better coaches of this era.
I am going to go ahead and say I don't think he's the best coach in the NBA. I think that he is deserving of this contract, and I think it's really hard to say. I mean, you can look at this in the NFL, and I wish I would have looked it up. But if you listed the 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, guys that you're like, what?
Right.
It's not Mahomes, it's not Allen, it's just, so it just kind of works with cycles and what people
Mm-hmm.
are willing to pay. And if you're the Clippers and you suck forever, and you've got a guy that's got you the best, 5th best team in the last 4 years, you're not going to get rid of that. You're going to stick with that.
Absolutely.
And that's smart. And
Absolutely.
so I'm happy for Tryonn Lue. Sounds like you're saying he's a great guy. And I don't think he's the NBA's best
He's a
coach,
leader. He's
but
a
I
leader of
definitely
men.
think he definitely deserves that contract. So now we're going to talk about guys who aren't head coaches, but should be head coaches and have been recruited to be head coaches. And that's Ben Johnson from your Detroit Lions.
Detroit.
Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. And he was the hottest head coaching candidate going into the offseason this year. Now, Detroit played into the championship game. So because of that, sorry, Jimmy, because of that, he got, they're not allowed to interview. So he kind of got delayed through the cycle and didn't get a job. But what ended up happening was he didn't receive an offer, that's correct, but he met with the Commanders and the Seahawks and the Falcons and the Panthers and the Chargers. He met with a lot of teams. And you know what he said, Jimmy? He said, I want to stay with Detroit. I want to stay with the Lions. I want to stay with my man, Dan Campbell. Yeah. And I want to build this thing up. And I want to win a Super Bowl with the Lions. That's what he said, Jimmy. And so he passed on his opportunity to be a head coach. So I want to ask you something, Jimmy. You're a guy in his situation. I know you're loyal. I know that Ben's loyal to the Lions. I know that he's built a great thing. But you might only get one shot.
Yes.
Do you take that head coach job when it's there? Or do you wait? Did Ben Johnson make the right decision, Jimmy?
I think he's in a very tough position. I think he's in a unique position as well. The organization clearly values him. And like you said, going deeper to the playoffs is not a bad thing, but it ended up, kind of limiting his opportunities to become a head coach. But I would say that the success the Lions had this year, I think you would want to build on that and capitalize and actually win it. And then, who knows what those opportunities will be then. Like you said, though, they don't come around all the time. They're far few in between. But I believe if the Lions kind of have the same kind of success that they had this past year, he won't have a problem getting a head coaching position. And especially being loyal and coming back to see it through. I think that sends a message to the rest of the league, and he may have better teams that offer him, that head coaching position. So, yeah, it's good that he has the opportunity. Should he have taken it? I don't think this is the right time. I think he has some unfinished business to do. And to quote what he said, he still like the sun shining. So what that means is he don't know what it's like in these other organizations, or he trusts that moving forward with the Lions is going to be good for him versus going somewhere else at this moment.
You have to evaluate what you want in life and in your career. And I probably, if I was in his situation, would have made the same decision he made. But I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I'm going to say that if you want to be a head coach and it's what you've worked your whole career for, then you take it when it's offered to you. Because I am going to tell you that there are a lot of situations where, and I got one at the top of my head, Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, and he was the hottest head coaching candidate. And he said, I have unfinished business with the Jets. And the Jets puked all over themselves. And Brian Schottenheimer couldn't get a job cleaning the bathroom stalls at the stadium the next year. And Brian Schottenheimer is still in the league, and he's like an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach. But guess what Brian Schottenheimer is never going to be? He's never going to be a head coach. And he had his shot, and he turned it down. And I don't know, does he regret that? I personally wouldn't, because I value other things in life, right? I value the situation, loyalty, and friendship. And there's a lot of different things that matter to me. And this money with these guys making is so ridiculous anyways, it doesn't really matter, right? So for me, I get it. But man, if you want to be a head coach, I wouldn't.
You got to take that opportunity.
My reason certainly wouldn't be, well, I'll get it next year. No, you might.
Again, I just think it's just a unique situation of them being so close to winning the championship, and I think it's a testament, or really, it's an insight that shows that he believes that they're going to be as good or better this year. I think guys sometimes they take positions because they're forced into, or they feel like they won't have a better opportunity or better chance, or the position that they're with right now is equal or less than the opportunity that they have. So like I said, I applaud his loyalty. I think he made the right decision. We do make decisions on other things outside of the sport, our family, our friends, our interests, the things that we, like and do. So hopefully it works out for him coming back this year and he's able to propel himself into a head coaching position. Who knows? Maybe Dan Campbell leaves and he takes over for the Lions. Who knows?
Maybe you don't know. Jimmy, we're going to stay on football and we're going to talk about Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jaylen Waddle. On Thursday, the team signed Mr. Waddle to a 3-year contract extension worth. Are you ready? Are you holding your chair, Jimmy? Are you holding that?
I'm holding on. Hold on, let me get
80.
ready.
Oh, you got it? All right.
Yeah,
$84.75 million, Jimmy. $76 million guaranteed.
Damn.
A new average value of $28.25 million makes him the 4th highest paid receiver, right behind his teammate Tyreek Cheetah Hill, who makes $30 million a year. So, Jimmy, Waddle has crossed 1,000 receiving yards in each of his 3 NFL seasons. He was the number 6 overall pick out of Alabama, and he burst onto the scene as a rookie with a then NFL record 104 receptions, which was then broken by Pakua Nagua of the Rams. But Jimmy, this is the same question that we asked about Tyronn Lue. I know money doesn't equal best, but 4th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Does that make sense to you, Jimmy?
Well, I think again, this is on the other side, right? So I think the team values him as a very intricate part, obviously. Tyreek Hill is the guy. He's making $30 million. I think this guy who's only been in the league 3 years, had a great rookie year, followed it up, and then, kind of solidified who he is in the league after this past year. You got to pay the guy, and if you got a guy on one side making 30, what does that number look like? So I think they were comfortable enough to do it. Obviously, give him 76 million guaranteed. Is it the right thing? Again, I think it depends on the individual, the team, and what they value him as, not as like the player and so much what they deserve or what the player is asking for. So I think this is another unique situation. I think they feel like their quarterback is healthy. He's going to complete the year. I think they feel like if they give him another option, they could keep his, they get guys around him and keep his injury down and keep him on the field. That's all I can see, because that's a high number. It's a very high number, and you got 2 guys on your squad that's two top 10 in salary. So I think they're going all in for the year.
Top 4. So Jimmy, that's
top 5.
what.
So
Jimmy,
they're going all in.
You can't spend $58 million on 2 receivers. That is stupid. That is stupid. That is dumb.
It may be. We don't know. They obviously know something that we don't.
Jimmy,
to play that exorbitant amount of money.
Jimmy, it is dumb. It is not maybe dumb. It is dumb. When your salary cap is $250 million, you can't spend 20% of it on 2 prima donna wide receivers. Now, here's the thing. Tyreek Hill is worth every freaking dollar. Totally agree. No issue with $30 million a year for Tyreek Hill. You got him. Now go get some $1 million receivers to ramp up the side. You don't need this Jaylen Waddle. And by the way,
again, I just think
he's
it's a
got
unique
2 more
situation.
years. He's locked under contract for 2 more years anyways. So you didn't need to do this.
They know something.
They don't.
Or he has a great agent.
Okay, fair enough. I think Tyreek Hill could be getting at the end of his career. So this could be the next guy. So they don't foresee Tyreek Hill going more than a few more years. Jaylen Waddle's new contract kicks in. So you're right. They're probably not going to have $58 million in receiver at the same time. So that's a fair point. Jimmy, we're going to move on to our last topic. We're going to talk about Iron Man. Iron Man. So I saw this headline and I'm like, really? But I still think it was worth bringing up because I think we need to include baseball in here every now and then. And we also need to include our World Series champion, Texas Rangers on the broadcast.
That's right. He shocked the world last year. Nobody thought they were going to win.
Right. So Texas Rangers second baseman Marcus Semien got a day off for the first time in more than 2 years, Jimmy, when he didn't play against the Arizona Diamondbacks, ending his consecutive game streak at 349 games. He'd been sore. He had a collision in a game on May 18th and hasn't, but he's been 1 for 20. That's not good. And so they wanted to sit him, they wanted to rest him, and so he broke his streak. So, Jimmy, do you care about a baseball Iron Man streak?
Yes, absolutely. I do, because it's important that those are kind of dangling. 300 and it doesn't seem like a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot in today's baseball.
Right, in today's, then that's where I was getting at, because my guy Cal Ripken.
Like, you stole my thunder. I had it lined up. That's what I was following with.
But that's what we're talking about, though, B. Nobody's ever going to catch that record. Like, that's not going to happen ever. And if it does, he is truly an Iron Man. We might have to check his blood and see if he's a cyborg or something, because it's just not going to happen. 349 games is great. And he really did need to sit out 1 for 20.
If he's hurt,
let him get healthy. He's clearly hurt.
It's almost like he was playing hurt to keep the streak alive. So,
correct.
Jimmy, I grew up in the 80s/90s, and there was a guy by the name of Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man.
No doubt.
And he had a streak. And I want everyone to know this, all you youngins out there. This Marcus Semien had 349. Cal Ripken Jr. had a streak of 2,632 games. Let me say that again. 2,632 games. Incredible.
Off the chart.
That's
an Iron Man. That's like quick math. That's like 8 times the games that he's
not impressed by Travis Semien at all. Marcus, not impressed.
I think it was probably important to him, and he wanted to do the streak, I'm sure.
Jimmy, I am gonna let you have the last word first, because I have the last word last.
Got it. So with this, I want to say for the last word, I think the police department and Scottie Scheffler's attorney did a great job of not extending this and seeing the incident for what it was, and clearing his name.
Agreed.
And moving forward, so that the focus could be on the victim's family. And but I must say that he still came up short this week from my man Xander Sofale.
Xander Sofale. Jimmy always gets a chance to bring Xander Sofale into the show. Jimmy, all I'm going to end with is, do you know what time it is, Jimmy?
What time is it?
It's J-Lo time, Jimmy. That's what it is. We're going to put on our suit. We're going to get into space. And we're going to fight some robots, Jimmy. That's what
I'm with it. Some of them might be cyborgs. Get them to beat the streak, the baseball streak. That's what she's out there for.
That's right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Jimmy. Have a safe travels back from the Detroit area.
Thank you, my brother.
We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.
Peace.